Hi everyone, myself Vamsi Krishna. In this session, we are going to see how to install and configure SonarCube using Kubernetes. I have a 2-node cluster already created in my setup. If you see kubectl get nodes, I have the 2-node cluster already created. Okay. If you want to know how to create a cluster, you can refer my other videos where I have explained clearly how to create a EKS cluster manually and as well as using Terraform. You can refer the other videos. Okay. For this video, especially I am focusing on how to install and configure SonarCube using Kubernetes. Once we have the cluster, first thing what we need to do is we need a database for SonarCube. Okay. You can either use Postgres or you can use MySQL or you can use SQL Server as well. It's up to you. But the most recommended approach was using Postgres. And you can configure Postgres secrets YML, and inside that Postgres secret YML, you can mention the Postgres usernames and passwords, all these things you can mention. Let me start cloning this repository, right? This is my repository, Vamsi Tech Tutorials. Go to repository section and click on Kubernetes and clone the Kubernetes repository. You can say git clone. This is the repository. Git is not installed. Install git quickly. Yum install git. Yum install git. Now git is installed. Execute git clone this repo. Go into Kubernetes repo. Go into SonarQube. These are the files which we have. We will verify the first file, Postgres secrets YAML. Okay, in the Postgres secrets YAML, we have username and password, right? If you observe, the kind is of secret and metadata is Postgres secrets, type opaque. Data we have username and password. How we got this username and password is you need to use base 64 encode so that you will get the username and password. This is how we have to use. So suppose echo -n Postgres admin. If you see, this is what we got. CG9ZDGDY. This is how we got the username. This is Postgres admin is the username. And password I want to keep admin123. Copy this and paste it here. You will get password YWRT. Okay. This is how we got data, username and password. Okay. This is secrets. Okay. Whatever we want to connect to Postgres, we need username and password. For that particular username and password, we generated base 64 encoded username and password, and we created a YML file and we added the data, username and password. This is perfect. Let us create the secret. Secrets are created. If you want, you can see kubectl get secrets. This is the secret. Okay, these are the secret type. If you want specifically, you can get that also. Next thing is we need to create persistence volume and persistence volume claim for Postgres. First thing is persistence volume, right? When you are working with any database or anything, we need to have this persistence volume, right? What this persistence volume will do? This persistence volume are administrator provisioned volumes, right? These are created with a particular file system, size, and identifying characteristics such as volume IDs and names. A persistence volume has the following attributes. It is provisioned either dynamically or by an administrator. First, we need to create persistence volume. And once we have the persistence volume, we can create a persistence volume claim as well. Persistence volume claim is a request for storage similar to how a pod requests compute resources. Persistence volume claim provides an abstraction layer to the underlying storage. For example, administrator could create a number of static persistence volumes that can be later be bound to one or more persistence volume claims. We need to create persistence volume and persistence volume claim using Postgres YAML file. That is what Postgres storage is. We can see what is there in the Postgres storage. Cat Postgres storage. If you see, we have persistence volume, storage class name is manual, and the host path is /mnt/data, and the storage capacity is 250 MB, and access mode is read write many. You can read write many times. Okay. Second thing is you have persistence volume claim, and in the persistence volume claim, you are mentioning storage class manual and access mode read write many, and you are requesting for 250 MB, right? One is persistence volume, another one is persistence volume claim. Let us execute this as well. Now both persistence volume and persistence volume claim got created. If you see get PV, persistence volume is there, persistence volume claim is also there. Now you have Postgres secrets and you have persistence volume and persistence volume claim. Now we go and do the Postgres deployment, and then we can expose that as a service, right? For that, we need to use Postgres deployment. This is the Postgres deployment. In the Postgres deployment, we need to mention the secrets which we created sometime back, and we need to mention the persistence volume claim which we created sometime back. If you see, the kind is deployment type, and in the spec containers, image is Postgres, image is Postgres 10.4, image pull policy if not present, ports are 5432, environment we need Postgres user and Postgres password. We are referring that from secret key reference which we created sometime back. This is Postgres secret. From the Postgres secret, we created username and password. We are referring that from the Postgres secrets. And in the volume mounts, we mentioned the path. And in volumes, I'm just mentioning the persistence volume claim which I created sometime back. This is Postgres volume claim. And next thing, once we have the deployment, we need to run the service for that. This is the Postgres service, and I am using node port because this is internal to this. I am not using cluster IP or load balancer because I just want to run the DB inside this cluster. I don't want to expose this DB outside, right? For that, I'm not using load balancer. I'm fine with node port. Let me execute deployment and service. Now Postgres deployment and service got created. Now database is ready. Next, what we need to do is, now we need to create persistence volume and persistence volume claim for SonarQube. Okay. In the similar way, I'm copying for this. Whatever we have done for Postgres, same way we are doing persistence volume and persistence volume claim for SonarQube as well. Once we have the persistence volume and persistence volume for SonarQube, we need to create a config map. Okay. In the config map, what we will mention is what is the SonarQube JDBC username, and what is the SonarQube JDBC password, and what is the SonarQube JDBC URL we need to mention, because we need to link Sonar with JDBC, right? If you see here, We just mentioned URL JDBC colon Postgres colon. This Postgres is nothing but whatever we have exposed as a service. This is the service name Postgres, and then 5433 is the port number and URL is this, right? This is the config map. We need to create the config map, so that this config map we will use in SonarQube deployment. Config map is created. Now we have a SonarQube deployment. We'll go into the SonarQube deployment. Sonar deployment. In the Sonar deployment, we have mentioned kind as deployment. Spec containers name is SonarQube. Image is Sonar 7.1, and CPU 500 MB, and request for 500 MB, and memory is 1024 MB, right? And then volume mounts. This is the volume mount which I am using, and persistence volume claim is these two things, right? Sonar data and Sonar extensions is the persistence volume claim. And for Sonar we need to provide three things. What is the SonarQube JDBC username? I am referring it from Postgres secret. And what is the SonarQube password? Again, that I am referring from the SonarQube Postgres secrets which we created. And SonarQube JDBC URL which I am referring from config map which we created some time back. Okay, we need three things. What is the JDBC username? JDBC is nothing but Java database connectivity. SonarQube JDBC username, I am retrieving it from Postgres secrets. And SonarQube password, which is nothing but Postgres password, I am retrieving it from the secrets. And SonarQube JDBC URL, as it is a configuration, I created a config map, I am retrieving it from config map. Okay, and for the volumes, I mentioned two persistence volume claims. One is Sonar data, another one is Sonar extensions, right? Now, second thing is Sonar service, right? Once we have the deployment, if you want to access the deployment, you need to expose that as a service. I am exposing it as a load balancer. Target port is 9000. I am redirecting it to 80, so that once we have the deployment up and running, and we can expose that deployment as a service, and we can access the load balancer URL, and we can connect to SonarQube. Okay, let me execute the deployment and service as well. Done. Now we executed SonarQube deployment and service. We will look for kubectl get pods. Okay, SonarQube container is creating, right? If you want, you can say, you can do pod watch also, so that it came to running state. This is fine. Now, once we have pod, we can see the service as well. Get service. We got the load balancer URL. We need to wait for some time, and we need to connect to that. We can check the service again, and we can go to load balancers, and we can verify whether the load balancer is in service or not. If the load balancer is in service, we can access that. Go to load balancers, and in the load balancers, we need to make sure whether the instances are in service or not. If you see both the instances are in service, let us copy this get service URL and access it from the browser. Now you will get the SonarQube home page, and we need to log in. Click on login, and the default username and password is admin. Click on login. Perfect. You can provide the token that you can skip later. Perfect. We are able to log into SonarQube web UI using Kubernetes deployment. This is the UI, and you can analyze the projects of SonarQube later. But this session is made to deploy SonarQube on a Kubernetes cluster. Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel.